Frazier to face Andy Pettitte as we get underway here at Yankee Stadium with a fastball signal to strike by the home plate umpire.
Quick reference to that starting lineup, Dave. Juan Gonzalez, Dean Palmer out, not just to get a day off. Gonzalez with a strained rib, Palmer stiff back.
Pettitte right around the plate. Jim Leyritz catching today.
What this sets up, this makeshift Ranger lineup, is with Andy Pettitte having the best pickoff move in the American League, and the Rangers have a lot of speed in that lineup with Frazier and Buford and Greer and McLemore. Johnny Oates, the most speed he's ever had on any team for him.
I talked to Johnny before the game. I said, if this fellow Lou Frazier gets on first base, he takes a lead. He's in another zip code sometimes.
It'll be interesting to see if he gets there. When Andy Pettitte throws to first, he'll take off to second. He gets as big a lead as anybody in baseball.
Start this season in the comfort.
Coming up for their first at-bats in the bottom of the first inning, and here's the veteran they'll be facing today, Kevin Gross. Man who's had but one winning season in the last 10 years. He's an innings eater, but a lot of hitters have been eating him up over the past 10 years. A well-traveled Kevin Gross with the Phillies, the Expos, the Dodgers, and Texas. And here's the lineup he'll face from the Yankees. A lot of late changes in this one. Bernie Williams moved up to lead off in place of Wade Boggs. Tino Martinez struggling but hitting second. Paul O'Neill hits third. The cleanup man is Ruben Sierra. Then Jim Leyritz, Mariano Duncan, Andy Fox, Gerald Williams, and Derek Jeter.
Let's take a look at the Rangers in the field, and I don't know of any team in the major leagues that can offer more speed in the outfield than that trio. Rusty Greer, Lou Frazier, and Damon Buford. Granted, between them they have less than 30 big league home runs, not a lot of power, but they can cover some ground out there. Of course, injured Juan Gonzalez on the bench, and Buford in against the left-hand pitcher Andy Pettitte. Around the infield with Palmer's tight back bothering him, you'll see Craig Worthington at third with Kevin Elster, the former Met, at short, then Mark McLemore and Will Clark, and Kevin Gross. Now, beware of a sick man. A couple of these Rangers are bothered by maybe some food poisoning, upset stomach. Gross has not been feeling well. It was doubtful his start just prior to game time, and oftentimes when guys are like that, they come up with a supreme effort.
Have they pinned down the source?
No, there's a combination of, some say it's the flu, and because it's affected so many of them, they think it might be some food that they all partook of.
Johnny Oates, second season with the Texas Rangers. He's had 4 consecutive winning seasons. Bernie Williams looks at the breaking pitch. Bernie off to his typical early season, well, I guess you could call it a slump. He's not hitting for an average. He's had a pair of home runs. In fact, Bernie's only 1 for his last 14. Just about 15 minutes before the game, Bernie moved up to the leadoff spot when Wade Boggs asked out with a right hamstring that was a little tight.
Yeah, the good news, bad news when you start looking at some of those batting averages like Bernie Williams and Tino Martinez is every time the Yankees score 4 runs, with the exception of yesterday's game, they win. They've been doing it primarily with some good starting pitching, waiting for the bats to heat up.
Gross misses, so the count now to Bernie is a ball and 2 strikes. Ron Rodriguez is behind the plate for the Rangers. And another curveball from Kevin Gross.
Fastball, curveball, changeup. Dick Bosman, the Ranger pitching coach, as Tino Martinez waits on deck, does not teach the split finger fastball or forkball. A little too tough on the arm to suit him.
That is caught at second base, and a perfectly timed leap by Mark McLemore. And who could play the outfield and the infield. And he just timed that leap perfectly.
Boy, you're right on with the timing, because this ball off the end of the bat looks like it might be hit a little harder than it really was, and McLemore waited. Watch him wait and just time that leap. Anything but that good timing. Bernie's got a bloop single.
Looked like he took one of those NBA jump stops and then left the ground.
Hanging in the air like Michael Jordan.
Now Tino Martinez. And here's a man who's hitting .088, but he's moved up to the 2nd spot in the Yankee lineup.
And I wonder why that could be. Why would Joe Torre take a power hitter like Tino Martinez? And that's why right there. When Paul O'Neill, a 300 hitter, is batting behind you and you're scuffling, and Joe Torre knows hitting as well as anyone, you put Tino Martinez in this spot and figure he's going to get more fastballs to hit, and maybe he'll come out of that slump.
There's a fastball back up the middle, and just like that, managerial magic, it works. Tino Martinez gets his first Yankee Stadium hit as a Yankee.
Not the line drives you're going to see him hit a lot of during the season, but he's patient on that one, gets a fastball, takes it right back up the middle. In the open of our telecast, we saw him pulling off a pitch on the outside part of the plate. Now he takes it right up the middle, gets rewarded with a base hit.
Now Paul O'Neill. 4 multiple hit games in the first 9 for the Yankees. And the fastball from Gross is high. However, last year after 9 games, O'Neill had 3 home runs, so he's looking to go deep for the first time. He hit the target of Ivan Rodriguez right down the pipe there. Here's how the Rangers play it defensively.
Pretty straight away and fairly deep in the outfield, as you'd expect. O'Neill can use the entire field.
Gross having trouble spotting that fastball. 2-1 to Paul O'Neill. The Rangers, before winning yesterday, had lost 8 straight at Yankee Stadium. And I guess with the new look Yankees, everybody is a threat to run, even Tino at first.
That would be a surprise, unless it were a hit and run.
He tried to check his swing.
Rocky Rose said he went around, and he did. I guess it's like people that are proficient in all fields, they are their own toughest critics. And Paul O'Neill, no exception. He has really been tough on himself. Not happy with the way he's swinging the bat. Talking to him before the game in the clubhouse, he just said, man, I'm stinking the place up. I'm not swinging the bat well. But one little bloop can get him started.
Held back. Didn't pull the trigger on the breaking pitch. Well, he's hitting 297. That's...
Yeah, but by his, see, he's set high standards for himself. He's not happy at 297.
I know Carl Taylor, the Yankees video man, says that more than anybody else, Paul O'Neill is a devotee of going to the videotapes to check out how he's doing. Here's Ruben Sierra, doing well lately. Well, he watched that pitch into the strike zone before he offered at it. So Martinez goes back to first base. If you just joined us, yes, Tino got a base hit. Bouncing single up the middle. We're in the bottom of the first inning. Full count to Paul O'Neill. 1 on and 1 out. Yankees and Rangers have seen a lot of each other in this week or 8 days. This is the sixth time they're playing. Runner is going, and the pitch is down low and inside, and O'Neill draws a walk. So the Yankees have a threat here in the first inning against Kevin Gross and the Texas Rangers.
A lot of respect for Paul O'Neill early in the ball game. 3-2 count instead of challenging him with the fastball. Gross tried the breaking ball and missed with it. An early opportunity for the Yankees.
Now Ruben Sierra, his 2 home runs ties him for the club lead with Bernie Williams. Ruben, the former Texas Ranger. And already the chant of Ruben, Ruben. Last season, Kevin Gross lost 15 games, which tied him for the most losses in the American League.
Pretty readable, Kevin Gross, in terms of if he has his good stuff, he's got confidence in it, he'll throw strikes, he'll probably pitch a good ball game. If he doesn't, he starts to nibble, walks a lot of people, loses the ball game. No middle ground with Kevin Gross. When you see a pitcher with that kind of arm, and you mentioned he's an innings eater, he's never been on this disabled list because of a sore arm. He fractured a finger one time trying to field a bunt. Why is his record 131 and 149 with that kind of stuff? Because he has not learned to win on the days that he doesn't have that top-notch stuff. So when he has it, he wins. When he has pitched a no-hitter in his career, when he doesn't, he's a losing pitcher. Has not gotten as much out of his stuff as he should.
1-1 to Sierra. Gross will have to field it and make the play to first. And holding first base was Will Clark to get the put out as Martinez moves to third, with Paul O'Neill now down to second base. So the runners have moved over, not the typical Ruben Sierra at bat.
But you can notice how Gross does not bounce off the mound and almost throws that ball away. And I think his actions tell you that he is not 100% physically. Mentioned the possible food poisoning, feeling under the weather, and his actions are not real quick out there. He's struggling.
And at 6'5", you have to bend down a long way to pick that one up, and that's always an area of the field where some pitchers have a problem throwing to first base. Jim Leyritz, they called him Mr. April, and he has about as high a batting average as anybody in the major leagues in the month of April.
And Joe Torre making sure he gets in the lineup enough times because of that. Catching today, playing left field, DHing on occasion.
He called him a mistake hitter. He stands well off the plate. The bat's always moving. 2-0 to Leyritz. So does he sit on a fastball here?
Most hitters do. Won't see many hitters that look breaking ball on 2-0. You see how far off the plate Jim Leyritz is, and then he'll dive into the pitch. That's why you see him get clipped on that forearm oftentimes with inside pitches.
Like an off-speed breaking.
See, now there's a difference in today's hitting. That actually was a mistake. That's a hanging breaking ball, but hitters are so locked into making the ball. Look how high this pitch is. I mean, it's going to come in up above the belt, and see, that's a hittable pitch. But hitters today are so conscious of making a pitcher get the ball down and hit the low pitch, they take that.
There's the fastball at 3-0.
That's a pitch that, say, 15, 20 years ago, if a right-hand hitter got that kind of, you'd be rubbing up a new one. I mean, that baby would be out there in the outfield somewhere. He certainly wouldn't let it go by. Just a change in hitting philosophies.
Well, they say you guess the pitch and you guess the zone. He was definitely looking lower. There he chased one that was below the knees. That's a pretty good indication there of the hitter being conscious of the low ball.
Most breaking balls and strikeouts are on breaking balls out of the strike zone. A lot of good breaking balls in the strike zone are hit, but it's the ones that look like they're going to be strikes, and then the bottom falls out and hitters commit and swing through them.
Well, a full count with 2 on and 2 out here in the bottom of the first inning. And time granted to Jim Leyritz at the plate. to left field, and it falls in front of Rusty Greer. Here comes the second run as Greer bobbles it, and the Yankees take a 2-0 lead, and at second base, Leyritz snuck in behind the shortstop, who did not realize that Leyritz was hung up about 15 feet from the base.
Now there's your mistake. That's a breaking ball about thigh high, and he just gets enough of the bat on it. Greer bobbles it, and the 2-run score easily, and McLemore figures, well, Leyritz isn't coming into second, and he gets caught napping. I've heard of the hidden ball trick, but never the hidden slide. Can't handle the true hop. And Leyritz, who would have been out by a good 15 feet had McLemore just turned around. Now, McLemore should have had some help from one of his infielders saying, here comes the runner. And Leyritz got by with that one.
Unbelievable. The Yankees jumped to a 2-0 lead. Greer bobbled it, and then McLemore had his back to Jim Leyritz, who was just hung out to dry about 15 feet from the base. Mariano Duncan now, and the Yankees in the lead 2-0. That was another hanging breaking ball, and Duncan a little bit late on it. Mariano was slated to be the Yankee starter in left field today, but at the last minute, with Boggs asking out, Andy Fox went from second to third, Duncan went from left to second, and Gerald Williams went to left field. 2-0 Yankees, bottom of the first. One and one.
Just for scoring purposes, they did charge Rusty Greer with an error. Doesn't take any RBIs away from Leyritz, but that's how he was able to advance to second base, was on the Greer bobble.
That's a tough scoring decision, because Leyritz, by all rights, should have been dead going into second base.
Well, most errors that outfielders are charged with, I say most of them, it's Red Foley had to make that decision, the official scorer here at the stadium. Even when you see an outfielder make a good throw and it bounces off the runner, he gets charged with the error. That's just one of the downsides of official scoring, and outfielders often come up on the short end of that.
Good pitch on the outside part of the plate. 2-2 to Mariano Duncan. He's hit in 6 games in which he's played as a Yankee, all 6. Yankees for the moment have, I guess, cooled off talks about acquiring a second baseman. Pat Kelly's had some encouraging signs since his most recent cortisone shot.
Now, one of the reasons they've cooled off is Carlos Garcia. The Pirates is playing so well, and the better he plays, the price goes up. Bob Watson's still on the phone and talking to the Philadelphia Phillies about Mickey Morandini and the Pirates' Carlos Garcia. But if Pat Kelly's news is encouraging, as you mentioned, and he could get back soon, then the Yankees would not be quite so eager to make a deal.
Now Duncan couldn't resist swinging at that high breaking pitch, and he's thrown out by the shortstop Kevin Elster. But the Yankees come up with 2 runs. The bobble allowed the second run to score, but they should have had Leyritz at second base. After 1 in the stadium, the Yankees 2 and the Rangers nothing. Yankees take a 2-0 lead to the top of the second inning here at the stadium. Andy Pettitte is on the mound. If you've joined us along the way, he struck out the first 2 batters he faced, and then Mariano Duncan on a sliding stop at the edge of the outfield grass threw out Will Clark. So it was a 1-2-3 first inning worked by Andy Pettitte. And he'll face Mickey Tettleton to lead off the second inning. Fastball for a strike.
You think Mickey Tettleton, you see the home run total. You do not think of some of the more well-known home run hitters in the major leagues, but he is right up there.
This one is right up there as well, but it's right up the chute. Bernie Williams with a long run, loses his footing, and that's going to be a 2-base hit for Mickey Tettleton. Bernie kind of overran it, and then the feet went out from under him.
Well, I don't know what kind of footwear Bernie's got on today, if his spikes are deep enough, but all the players have talked about the condition of the field. It's in good condition, but it's very soft. The outfield and the infield dirt, it's a very, very soft field, and he comes in right there, tries to stop, doesn't get any traction. And timely that we were talking between innings about scoring decisions. Mental errors, the McLemore play at second where he didn't tag the runner, and there again is a case of a very catchable ball that ends up being a gift 2-base hit.
Well, I'd hate to lose a no-hitter on that one.
Yeah. I mean, nothing Bernie could do about it, but who should be punished, the outfielder or the pitcher?
Bernie seemed to get a late start on that and then, in effect, overran it. Craig Worthington, a late insertion into the Texas lineup when Dean Palmer asked out. A little stiffness. Pettit with a 1-ball, 1-strike count to Worthington. Ooh, look who's back on the scene. Kenny Rogers, after a quick trip to Florida. He's back in the Yankee dugout, but still has yet to pitch.
He pitched in Clearwater, Florida. And in another 4 days, he will pitch in Florida again. And then on April 23rd, he will make his Yankee debut in Kansas City.
This one is gloved by Jeter. The runner moves to third on the play as he throws across to Tino Martinez. There's Mickey Tettleton. So Derek Jeter with a good jump moving to his left throws out Craig Worthington.
Nice base running by the veteran Tettleton, not known for good speed, but see, as soon as that ball was hit and it was hit to his left side, he reads the ball and he says, I can make it to third. That's good. You don't have to have blazing speed to be a good base runner. A lot of runners maybe would have hesitated and got caught in a rundown or had to go back to second. Tettleton made a quick and correct decision.
Rusty Greer now with a chance to have the Yankee lead, which is 2-0, and he does just that as he lines the pitch into center field for an RBI single. That brings Mickey Tettleton home. It's now the Yankees 2 and the Rangers 1 on the RBI by Greer, his 7th of the year. 2-1 Yankees.
Mark McLemore.
Well, a gift run for the Rangers.
Second base.
Greer jumps on this bell-tie fastball and does exactly what you'd like to do with it as a left-hand hitter. Boy, keeps that front shoulder in, is able to drive the ball the other way, and with the dropped fly ball in center field, the Rangers get on the board.
There's Mark McLemore, the number 7 hitter for the Rangers. He gets a fastball, bounces it to Jeter. He wants to go to second. He does, but that's all on the slow hit ball. So McLemore becomes the new base runner at first base. And Greer heads back to the dugout with an RBI single.
Haven't seen Andy Pettit use that pickoff move yet, but here again is a situation where you would anticipate the Rangers might try to run 2 outs. Get Damon Buford to lead off the next inning. The Rangers are the only team in the major leagues yet to be caught stealing. They're a perfect 12 for 12.
Oh, Andy bends that curveball right into the strike zone. That is impressive. It's also a good pitch to steal it.
Looks at the runner and throws home. A lot of pitchers, lefties, get into a pattern. They'll look to home, throw to first, look to first, throw to home.
Here's the move by Andy.
And obviously from Andy's results, 12 pickoffs, he does a good job of mixing it up. So a runner like Mark McLemore cannot read that. You know, you look for things like that. Every time he looks home, he comes to first. If he does it the same all the time, you can get a better jump.
There's another breaking pitch foul to the plate. When Andy was on after the opening day victory here at Yankee Stadium with Al Trautwig in the clubhouse report, I thought he might have given away one of his secrets, because he said to Al, you know, I have 2 different moves, the high leg kick to first and then the low leg kick to first.
Yeah, well, as long as he's doing 2 different leg kicks and still going to first, it would still make it difficult for the runner to read that.
There's the low leg kick, and he picked him off. However, we may have a balk called. Yes, the balk has been called.
Well, you put that in the little book if you're Andy Pettit and Joe Torre. Gary Cederstrom is the first base umpire. Andy Pettit has not been called for a balk. He has had a good pickoff move. There have been a lot of arguments, but no umpire has called a balk on him. What did he do there to balk? Did the foot come back behind the rubber? That's the only way you could call a balk. And in Gary Cederstrom's opinion, the first base umpire, we'll take a look. See if it comes back of there. Boy, I don't know. I mean, that is so difficult to call anyway. And in Gary Cederstrom's opinion, he thought Pettit went behind the runner from that rubber. From that angle, it did not look like he did.
First ball hitting, and driving it to right is Damon Buford. Waiting under it is O'Neill, so the balk doesn't provide any further damage. Andy Pettit allows a run because of the bloop, and it's 2-1 Yankees in the second.
2-1 Yankees. We go to the bottom of the second. Joe Torre came out between innings, talked to first base umpire Gary Cederstrom. Andy Pettit back to the dugout and slamming his glove down. He's never been called for a balk before, saying, "What did I do?" Now, as he lifts his leg up, we'll stop it right there and see his foot is well toward home plate, and when he picked it up, he did not go behind his back leg, behind the pitching rubber. But that happened so fast that I think maybe Gary Cederstrom, the first base umpire, get one more look at it. That leg never goes back of the pitching rubber. Maybe he was influenced by some of the arguing that's going on by other teams.
Well, that was the 4th balk of the season. And in between innings, Joe Torre out to talk with Gary Cederstrom about that move. Steve Howe had one called on him yesterday, and 2 against Scott Sanderson. Andy Fox leading off here in the Yankees' 2nd inning as he faces Kevin Gross with a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Fox, a very versatile player, plays second, plays third, runs well.
As you might expect, really loving the time he's having in the big leagues. I mean, talking about the roster changes, Tim Raines will probably be activated Tuesday and bat from the left side of the plate only.
Andy strokes that one over McLemore into right field, and he is making the most of his time. A leadoff single here in the bottom of the 2nd inning, and I know his folks back in Sacramento are catching this game.
And if he keeps swinging the bat like that, he will not be the one to go down to the minor leagues. Good, smooth stroke by the 6'4" left-hand hitter. He has been impressive. Primarily a third baseman, but his minor league numbers show that he's apt to be more of an average hitter and not a power hitter. Of course, Wade Boggs is that type, but the prototype third baseman is more of a power hitter.
Gerald Williams now, as the skies darken and the wind begins to swirl here at Yankee Stadium. Looks at a fastball for a strike. Gerald struggling here in the early going.
Now, only because of the hamstring injury to Wade Boggs is Gerald in the lineup. As you pointed out earlier, Duncan originally slated to start in left field with Andy Fox at second and Boggs at third.
Gerald stayed with the curveball, and he hit it to deep right center field. It is carrying, and it's to the base of the wall. Andy Fox runs well. He's being waved home. Gerald's on his way to third. There really won't be a play on him. Gerald Williams hitting a curveball to deep right center field for a triple that scores the Yankees' 3rd run. 3-1 New York.
A great reward for Gerald Williams. He had to face some awfully tough right-hand pitching early in the year when he started against Dennis Martinez and Oral Hershiser, but here he gets a breaking ball from Gross out over the plate and drives it to right center field. Buford runs out of room. And Fox reads the ball off the bat and sees that it's not going to be caught, and he scores easily. McLemore hesitated just a second on that relay throw. Williams never broke stride and got to third base.
That ball carried very well off the bat of Gerald Williams. 3-1 Yankees as Jeter bats with nobody out and a runner at third base.
Going back to the Yankee lineup, Dave, some fans might say, well, where's Deion James? They got him to play left field against right-hand pitching. He is bothered by a hyperextended elbow day to day, not able to play today.
That's going to be a tough break for Deion. I mean, he could be vulnerable too if Tim Raines comes up hitting left-handed.
He could be disabled, and the other possibilities, of course, would be number 3 catcher Jorge Posada or Robert Einhorn. Could be ticketed to minor leagues when Raines arrives.
Here's Gerald leading off third. Jeter gives that breaking pitch a real good look.
Boy, what discipline he has shown. He is near the top of the league, second to Dave Hollins. There's a lot of fathers and sons and families on hand today. In on-base percentage, over 500, drawn 7 walks.
Make it 8. Jeter goes to first. Still nobody out. The Yankees with runners at first and third. That's going to get a visit from the Texas Ranger pitching coach Dick Bosman, going out to talk to Bobby Gross. A year ago, Gross had the highest ERA among regulars That is Kevin Gross, the highest ERA among regulars in the American League, well over 5.
Well, he's never started out 3-0. He is 2-0 this year, and based on what we learned earlier about the stomach flu and the condition that he's had, they may not go along with him, and that's rookie Jeff Brandenburg, a side armor, loosening up in the Texas bullpen.
Does he look under the weather to you?
Well, his body actions when he got off the mound to field that ball that Sierra hit, there wasn't a lot of quickness there.
Now Bernie Williams getting set to hit. While we have a moment, that Kenny Rogers is back. Dwight Gooden pitched yesterday, was effective for a while, and then the Rangers got to him. So I guess you could second guess the Yankees move here and sending Rogers back and forth to the minor leagues while Gooden continues in the rotation.
Yeah, you can go back even before that, not just in the spring, but it's the whole scene with Doc Gooden being here and Kenny Rogers. You know, if you don't sign Doc Gooden, then you have a perfect rotation. Granted, they didn't know about Jimmy Key, but they felt Scott Kamenicki would be able to pitch this year. And here's a guy you have $20 million invested in him, and you're making him a stopgap, an emergency pitcher, and sending him to the minor leagues.
Shades of Jack McDowell right there.
In a perfect world, you would have Doc Gooden in the minor leagues, pitching and sharpening. See, yesterday he went through the batting order first 3 times real good, threw the ball about 93, 94 miles an hour, and then the fastball tailed off. The control isn't there. So in a perfect world, he should be in the minor leagues, getting his skills back. Kenny Rogers should be starting, but that's really when you have an owner that is involved, as George is, and it's so predictable here, and it's like the human monkey wrench factor. He's going to get involved. He predicted Doc Gooden would win 15 games, right? So he's going to stand by that. Doc's going to get ample opportunity to get the ball. When Kenny Rogers realistically should get more starts right now, and I think that the gamble could pay off for the Yankees if and when Rogers gets back in the rotation. There's going to be a lot less pressure on him. He's going to say, hey, look what they did with me, jacking me around. He's going to go out there and not feel the pressure that he would have had he started from the get-go.
Well, right now, strictly a spectator watching Bernie Williams foul this one off. The Yankees have added a run here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. They lead it 3-1. Nobody out, and Derek Jeter will walk back to first base.
And look for a sign at the same time. Another indication of Joe Torre's aggressive National League style baseball. Yankees have already stolen 10 bases, only been caught 3 times. And a lot more attempted hit and runs as well to stay out of the double play and get the infielders moving.
Bernie hit the ball well his first time up, lining out to second base. Sitting now in a 2-2 pitch. Tried to backdoor him, and that one's outside. So Gross again has a full count. Runner at third is Gerald Williams. There's Derek Jeter at first. Nobody out. Kevin Gross struggling here against the Yankees in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Runner goes. The pitch is hit by Will Clark in the right field. Williams scores easily from third. The throw will go into second base, and Jeter, after a wide turn at third, holds there. So Bernie Williams delivers with an RBI single past Will Clark in the right field. The Yankees now lead it 4-1. And Gerald Williams, who tripled and drove in a run, getting congratulations in the Yankee dugout, and Kevin Gross.
Another good at bat off a breaking ball by one of the Yankee hitters. Gerald Williams took the breaking ball to right center field. See, here's a breaking ball in the strike zone. Mentioned a while ago where those breaking balls in the strike zone seem to be hit more than the ones that drop out of it. And the Yankees have capitalized on a lot of those hangers here in the first couple innings.
Tino Martinez got in the hit parade. He singled up the middle his first time up. He's hitting in the number 2 spot in the Yankee lineup. Ball 1. Martinez had his first Yankee Stadium base hit as a member of this team. Now Now he has a chance to pick up his first RBI of the year. Still nobody out. Lined at Rusty Greer. Jeter tags, and he will score. And Tino Martinez, after the base hit his first time up, finally has his first Yankee run batted in. And the fans applaud him for his efforts. Got a few of them off his back.
Yeah, he lost about 15 pounds in 2 innings. He feels a lot lighter. Got 2 fastballs, one for a base hit and one for a line drive sacrifice fly. Yeah, that's when you know Tino Martinez is starting to swing the bat well, when he takes the outside pitch the opposite way and doesn't try to pull that front shoulder off the ball. 2 good at-bats for Tino.
Had a visit with the Yankee video man Carl Taylor, who showed me that Tino was actually keeping his shoulder in, but his hips were opening up, and that was causing him to be out ahead of a lot of pitches. And now, as a number 2 hitter, he's seeing more fastballs. O'Neill takes one for a strike. 1 out here in the Yankees' second inning. They have a 5-1 lead, and Bernie Williams definitely a threat to go at first base. Even now to O'Neill. Changeable skies here at Yankee Stadium. Was sunny when the game began, as Tino gets a little refreshment. And Bernie is going, but the pitch is fouled out of play.
Well, this has to be fun for these Yankee base runners when you're blessed with the speed of a Bernie Williams this year. They worked a lot during the spring, they being Jose Cardinal, on helping him improve his jump. He's on the go now. That was a straight steal. O'Neill just elected to swing at the pitch because Bernie never looked in. But when you're blessed with speed, it's a lot more fun to play this game when you get a chance to use it.
1-2 to Paul O'Neill as Gross checks Bernie Williams. He has a modest lead. O'Neill punches it into left field. That's a base hit. Rusty Greer on the second hop returns it. Bernie stops at second base. O'Neill is on at first. And the Yankees continue their hitting here in the second inning. And that might be it for this man, Kevin Gross.
And let me check that rookie reliever. It's Mark Brandenburg, not Jeff, that was loosening up. He's a side armor, under armor that Johnny Oates feels can also pitch effectively against left-handers, but not Kevin Gross's day. Feeling under the weather prior to today's game, possible food poisoning, and the Yankees took advantage of that.
So the Yankees up 5-1 will return to the stadium in a minute.
Back at Yankee Stadium, the home team leading the Texas Rangers 5-1. Al Trautwig with Jim Cott for the next couple of innings. Jimmy, you touched on a very sensitive topic for people following this Yankee organization, but I think you have it exactly right on the head, how difficult this is to understand what's being played out here between Kenny Rogers and Doc Gooden right now.
Yeah, and neither one of them are really at fault. It's a decision that has been made by, I'm sure, ultimately the Yankee owner, and both are suffering from it. Doc Gooden, realistically, to find out whether you can pitch in the big leagues, you have to get a handful of starts, 5 or 6 really, to find out. So the Yankees committed to do that to Doc, faced with the fact that Rogers sits and may not be as sharp as he should be when he comes back. It's a real gamble, especially with the Baltimore Orioles running off to an 8-1 start, and they're the one team that could run away and hide in this American League East.
And the thing about it is that in Kenny Rogers' situation, there are so many people who look at it and go, he's not going to be able to function in New York. And then the organization goes out and does just about everything it can to make it complicated for him to perform successfully in New York.
It could work in reverse for Rogers. He can come back now. He's got really a built-in excuse, if you want to call it that, because if he doesn't pitch well, he can say, look what they did to me early in the year. Mentioned Al in his last at-bat, Mickey Tettleton. You don't often think of him among the top sluggers in Major League Baseball, but when you begin to look at some of the home run hitters over the last several years, and walks as well, that have hit at least 30 home runs for the last 5 years, you got names like Barry Bonds, Fred McGriff, Albert Bell, Frank Thomas, Matt Williams, and even Mickey Tettleton is in that class. It's kind of surprising.
So Mickey's on at first as Andy Pettitte commits the sin of the leadoff walk. Remember, This is the continuation of Charity Week here on MSG. The number to call to volunteer your time to one of 5 charities we've suggested is 212-465-6660. More on that as we continue here this afternoon from the stadium. And I guess, as Andy Pettitte is clearly not as smooth as he was in the first 2 starts, is simply telling us the weather is too darn nice.
Yeah, summertime for him. He's accustomed to the snow flurries. I think the 2 long innings the Yankees had also, 2-runner and a 3-runner. Not that you wouldn't like to have that as a starting pitcher, but sitting in the dugout long periods of time, sometimes it takes you a little longer to get the touch and feel and rhythm that you want.
Turned out to be a beautiful spring day. A little crisp chill in the air. 1-1 to Worthington. And a surprisingly small crowd again after the sellout of opening day. They are not exactly packing them in just yet in these early days of the season at the stadium. And it won't be long before the debate begins to rage. It's this, it's the traffic, it's that, it's the Bronx.
Mel Stottlemyre, Joe Torre now show a little concern after a walk to Tettleton and falling behind Worthington 3-1.
Hard shot. Boy, did Worthington get all of that one off the facade of the Loge deck. The count is full at 3-2. I know I've got to get over it, but I'm still, really mad at Gary Cedarstrom, the first base umpire, because I don't know how it's playing on Andy Pettitte's mind right now with a runner like Mickey Tettleton on first base not taking much of a lead. But the balk call was totally bogus, and you really get the feeling that he's bowing to some pressure that's been created by some manager somewhere else.
Of course, the speedsters of the Rangers have not been over there yet. If a Lou Frazier gets there or a Damon Buford, the best thing Andy Pettitte could do is give him a couple of moves to show Gary Cedarstrom, my move is legitimate. It's not a balk move. Don't let that balk call intimidate you or discourage you from using it.
Ground ball to third. Nicely scooped there by Fox to Duncan. Across it goes to Martinez. The Yankee infield taking it on a 180-foot ride. 2 outs. That's the way you erase the leadoff walk.
The rookie Andy Fox starts it. Throw a little bit high, but nice footwork by Duncan. Comes down on the bag, makes the pivot in the same move.
The left fielder, Rusty Greer.
Ooh, he flew.
Boy, he can move.
Yes.
After all these years. So that'll bring up Rusty Greer, who singled and drove in a run back in the 2nd inning. My strongest memory of Rusty Greer is from Kenny Rogers' perfect game. He made a great catch to preserve it and then caught the final out. And so you've heard the replay of that call about 50 times. Greer hitting an even 300. Texas Rangers with the 2nd best record in all of the American League. Bad news for the Yankees is the best record resides in their division.
The Baltimore Orioles with outstanding starting pitching from Messina and Merker, Scott Erickson, David Wells.
Here's a well-hit shot, deep and gone. Andy Pettitte, lucky for him, they got that base-clearing double play. Watches Rusty Greer hit the home run. It is a 5-2 ball game here in the 4th. And they cheer as the fans reject the home run ball of the opponent. They throw it back onto the field. So Rusty Greer, with the bases empty, hits it to the 2nd deck.
Second baseman,
In right.
Mark McLemore.
Greer's first home run of the season, and that brings up Mark McLemore, who reached on a fielder's choice. McLemore committing the mental error of mental errors in this game by standing on second, receiving a throw from the outfield as Jimmy Leyritz was a good 30 feet off the bag, then never turned, and Leyritz surprised him by sliding in safely. We've talked about it before, Jim, but the mental errors, they should count.
They should. It's maybe something baseball should address, the scoring system, to continually give outfielders errors when the ball hits the runner. You could give a team error. You could give an error for a mental mistake like McLemore committed. And even the pop-ups that drop in, like to Bernie Williams. Granted, he slipped on the grass, but it's the outfielder's responsibility.
And Andy Pettitte on 4 pitches walks Mark McLemore. Very strange, because Pettitte normally doesn't miss 4 straight, and Pettitte in 13 of 15 first pitches had reached the strike zone. Wow.
Got a fastball, or maybe a cut fastball that just didn't cut, and it hung on the inside half, and Greer has had 2 good at-bats against Andy Pettitte.
He knew it.
That's an area the Yankees have been much improved over last year. Of course, the coming out of spring training, starters were only working a few innings, but only the 5th home run that the Yankees pitching staff has allowed this year. That's the lowest total since back in the early 60s.
So now it's Buford with 2 away. He's the 17th batter to face Andy Pettitte, and only the 5th to look at ball 1, but the 2nd consecutive. And out comes Mel Stottlemyre from the Yankee dugout. Not a good sequence nor inning for Andy Pettitte.
Just change the rhythm a little bit. That's all this visit is for. Sometimes Andy Pettitte is a fast worker, which you really appreciate if you play in the field or if you're a pitching coach like Mel Stottlemyre. But sometimes with a big lead, you work too fast. The pitching coach comes out, just slow you down, get back into a little different rhythm. And if you have followed Andy Pettitte's career, you know how competitive and intense he is. And sometimes in situations like this, he tends to fight himself more than the guy in the batter's box. Mel Stottlemyre just trying to settle him down a little bit and change that rhythm, slow him down some.
5-2, Yankees lead it. We're in the top of the 4th inning. Al Trautwig along with Jim Cott, Dave Cohen back later, of course. And Buford looks at another ball, 2-0. So the effect of Mel Stottlemyre's visit not yet felt.
Short stay for Damon Buford in the Mets organization. He was a part of the trade that sent Bobby Bonilla to the Orioles. They got the fine hitting prospect Alex Ochoa along with him. And then Buford acquired by the Rangers for Terrell Lowry.
Broken bat, short shot to center field. Jeter out, Williams in. It's a tweener. The Rangers will have runners at the corners. The tying run now coming to the plate. McLemore advancing to 3rd, and Buford on at 1st. Well, Jeter and Williams can certainly cover a lot of ground, but that was perfectly placed.
Nothing Bernie could do about it. It was Derek Jeter's ball to attempt to catch all the way, and he just can't catch up with it. A quick glance to see where Bernie is, and again, it's the base on balls. The 2-out walk to McLemore, followed by the bloop single, and suddenly Kevin Elster, of all people, you think of him as a glove man, becomes one of the most important outs in this ball game for the Yankees.
Jim, that was slightly left of second base, but I still think it qualifies as a Texas leaguer, right? Did it?
I think so.
It's within the rules,
yes.
Right? Yeah. So here is Elster, once with the New York Yankees for a spell. Pettitte misses with a breaking ball outside. Again, ball 1. So this is not a good sign and inconsistent with the way he's pitched here today in the previous 3 innings.
What happens, Al, during times like this, when you know you have a comfortable lead, you get 5 innings in, you qualify for the win. So from a starting pitcher standpoint, sometimes you quit pitching and you start throwing. Instead of thinking about, down and away, get a ground ball, you say, I have to throw a strike. I have to throw a strike. And that's the toughest time to throw one.
In for a strike. Jim, you made an excellent point earlier in the game about Kevin Gross and how his record and his past performances show that he does not know how to survive a day when his stuff isn't his best. Well, we're going to see how Andy Pettitte does right here today with that same theory working. 2-1 pitch to Kevin Elster with 2 on. Pettit lets him go to 3-1. Top of the order on deck. That's Lou Frazier. Sounds like he should be a boxer. The Laritz-Pettit tandem working again here in the Bronx. Elster goes with it. It's toward the gap, but O'Neill seems to have a good beat on it. Williams comes over, though, to make a diving catch. Oh, Paul O'Neill looked so comfortable in his stride, I thought he had it measured. But it was Bernie O'Neill, Bernie Williams, as I tried to combine the two of them, who makes this fine catch to get Andy Pettit and his team out of a jam. Yankees lead the Texas Rangers 5-2. Andy Pettit getting out of what could have been a big jam in the top of the 4th inning on a great catch by Bernie Williams in center field. Starting things off for New York in this bottom half of the 4th inning is Tino Martinez, who got his first Yankee Stadium hit in pinstripes and now has to deal with his average. Right up the middle, Joe Torre's a genius, batting him second and out of what would be his normal position, and Tino responds.
What's interesting about the game of baseball, Al, you look at the box score and you don't realize just one play like that can turn the entire game from a win to a loss. See, a little miscommunication maybe between Paul O'Neill. I think Paul felt that the ball was really going to carry a lot farther. It had a little of that topspin on it. Bernie reacting quickly makes a nice diving catch.
And Jim, the same way I believe that mental errors should be counted as such, I believe that there should be a system whereby the scorer can give a guy a little gold star for plays that are outstanding.
You're gonna revamp this whole system, aren't you? We'll see hockey.
O'Neill golfs one that is foul.
And don't they have the 3 stars in hockey?
Yeah, but I'm talking
star,
like in college football, where they get all the Buckeye stickers on the back of their helmet for great play. They should have that.
Sure. Give Nick Priori a bunch of those little NY, some little mini NY stick them on the cap every time
you're making fun of me now, and I'm serious. At the end of the year, Bernie would have, say, like 56 gold stars, and that's going to drop in for a hit for Paul O'Neill, who last year would have had, you know, a fair number of gold stars too. And now I'm not talking hits. I'm talking defensive plays that turn a game, or smart play on the base pad, something intangible. You're not buying it.
Well,
fine. That's fine. Yeah. Just throwing it out
I
there.
think it's nice to put in your scorecard, and I think Bernie's agent will put those down, but I don't know if we can make it a part of the official scoring system.
Just when I thought you were a man for change, you're backing down on me a little bit here.
It's just that I think to be able to tell what's a gold star and what's ordinary is going to be a little too difficult.
Here's Ruben Sierra, who has the shoes to end all shoes.
I want to see you in a pair of those puppies right there.
I mean, these are beyond anything ever seen before.
That looks like the U.S. Marine Drum and Bugle Corps, right? You know, with the spats and the
patent leather. And
I think Eddie Murray is the only other player to wear those, that particular model.
For a strike.
And Ruben still getting some reaction from his elaborate, showy home run trot that he displayed in his home run this weekend against the Rangers.
1-1 with 2 on in the Yankee 4th. They lead it 5-2. That's the beauty of Bill Webb, by the way. You mention something, you get 6 angles of it. Mention the shoes, we see them from everywhere. On the Nobody Beats the Wiz scoreboard, the Cleveland Indians leading the Boston Red Sox 4-0 in the second. You and I mentioned this as we look at the other scores available. Randy Velarde and Mike Stanley off to pretty slow starts in their new homes. Minnesota leading Baltimore 3-0 in the 5th. And Danny Tartabull 3 for 33 as you look at the man whom he was traded for, Ruben Sierra. Chicago leading Oakland 2-0 in the 4th. And one last score, Milwaukee leading Kansas City 3-1 in the 3rd. That's it on the Nobody Beats the Wiz American League scoreboard. 2-1 to Ruben Sierra. Way outside.
Yeah, a lot of times your draw of the starting pitchers determines how you do as a team early in the year, and the Yankees get a little bit of a break there. Ben McDonald, who is pitching quite well, is pitching today for the Brewers, so the Yankees will not face him in the 2-game series. Kenny Rogers and Doc Gooden looking on.
Brandenburg's pitch is outside, and he has walked. The bases loaded for Jim Leyritz. Mark Brandenburg gets the phone lines working here at the stadium.
Dick Bosman, pitching coach, to the phone. It's an area that Johnny Oates said in spring training was his biggest concern. Matt Whiteside, the right-hander, is going to begin to loosen. Jeff Russell, remember Jeff Russell, one of the premier closers in the major leagues for years, is working down in extended spring training in Florida. He'll join this team on the 1st of May as a setup reliever for Mike Henneman. And then you have veteran Gil Heredia and Ed Vosberg. But until they get to those pitchers, things a little thin in the Ranger bullpen.
So with this pause, it allows us to tell you that this copyrighted telecast is authorized under rights granted by the Yankees solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publications, reproduction, retransmission, or the other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Yankees and Madison Square Garden Network is prohibited. Nice leisurely pace to the disclaimer today.
Yep.
Normally we don't have that luxury.
Helped out by that visit to the mound to give Matt Whiteside a little more time to get ready.
Got a little Greek flavor here at the stadium, and here in the Bronx they'll clap to anything. With the bases loaded, it's Jimmy Leyritz. Yankees up 5-2. Nobody out in the 4th. Strike one. Leyritz has already driven in 2 with a double back in the 1st. That got the Yankees going. Reaches for one, and he's in an 0-2 hole here. Started off with Tino Martinez. He led with a single. Then Paul O'Neill did the same thing. And then Ruben Sierra walked. As we carry you around the diamond, and Jose Cardinal, the first base coach, checks in with Sierra. This will be an 0-2 delivery for Jim Leyritz. From Mark Brandenburg. Waste one. Ever been to the Brandenburg Gate?
Not lately.
Geography for 50.
Yeah.
Name the city. Berlin. I'll let you off the hook. 1-2 pitch now. Feel free to stump me right back, as I know you can. Here's a fly ball out to Rusty Greer. Battling a swirling wind that is carrying debris out there. Martinez faked the start, draws the throw, but nothing doing. So Leyritz is gone. And you can see that flagpole out in center field. The flag is wrapped all around it up top. It tells you the wind has changed directions a few times this afternoon.
Yeah, even though it looks oftentimes like the flag is blowing in, but the ball will carry. And Willie Randolph not going to take any chances there with Tino Martinez at third base and nobody out.
Nice opportunity here for the Yankees to blow the game slightly open. Mariano Duncan. And there it goes to center field. Tino Martinez scores. O'Neill gets the green light from Willie Randolph. Will have a play, and he's in there safely.
Ooh. And O'Neill lost his
safely.
footing, and he is hurt. I don't know if it's his wrist or his leg, but his spikes, when he slid in, he just slipped, and you could tell immediately when he turned over at home plate. Ooh, that is not a good sign if it's that wrist.
It's one of the things that baseball players fear most, a hand injury.
Wow.
Oh, it's a leg.
It's a knee. And you hope that it's just a cramp. Watch when he starts the slide and immediately reaches for the knee.
Well, we don't have to underline the importance of this particular moment in this Yankee season. Last year, one of the symbols of the Yankee season was Jimmy Key shutting his season down. We certainly hope that this replay is not one of the symbols of the early part of this Yankee season.
Another look as you see O'Neill go down on the left knee, and he's in pain, right? He's in pain already, but now he reaches for his right ankle. Now, whether that caught the dirt on the slide, because he slid on the left leg and reached for the right ankle.
I'd like to see that one more time, because I think you see the ankle after the impact wobble in the air as if to say something's not right.
Yeah.
And here's Andy Fox looking at ball one. Oh boy. Paul O'Neill, one of the RBI rocks of this Yankee lineup. Watch it here. After the impact, notice the ankle.
That's Tino Martinez scoring the first run, and Brandon Burke backing up. Now you'll see O'Neill come into the picture shortly.
We'll see in a moment. 2 balls and a strike to Andy Fox. It is 7-2 New York, and there is a very uneasy
Fans
quiet
are
here at the stadium.
Fans are tuned in. New York fans more than any fans, even with a 7-2 lead. They are very aware of the severity of what just happened at home plate. I always think that the quietest places in the country can be crowded elevators, and that's about what this stadium sounds like.
There's the impact.
Oh yeah, you see the right ankle hit. The right ankle hits as the left leg hits, and that's where the spikes caught. And in all probability, that ankle was twisted, sprained. Hope that's all it was.
He went off in a lot of pain, and the pain was instantaneous.
Yeah, you try to throw that lead leg up in the air. Note the right ankle. Just as Paul O'Neill starts his slide right about there, you're going to see that right ankle right there catch the dirt as he slides on the left knee, and then immediately he reaches for the right ankle. So you know when those spikes caught, he twisted it.
3-2 to Andy Fox. That's a difficult at bat for anybody, especially a young player, after one of the stars of the team has just gone down as he stood there watching just a few 10 feet away. So Fox draws the walk. And we don't want to forget, due to the injury of O'Neill, what a big hit that was by Mariano Duncan to drive in the 2 runs. Joe Torre, who's had to deal with the early injury to Tim Raines, the injury to Melito Perez, the stiffness of Jimmy Key, now is going to want to know as soon as possible, how is Paul O'Neill?
Tim Raines due to come off the disabled list and join the team on Tuesday, but Paul O'Neill is not whose place they had plans for him to take. He joined us late. Tim Raines will report, and hit only from the left side of the plate. Still bothered swinging right-handed with that fractured thumb, not able to grip the bat.
Certainly could mean a little more playing time for a player like Gerald Williams. Ruben Sierra's probably got to keep his mitt standing by, because you've got to figure with all the anguish that you saw in Paul O'Neill, it's got to be a couple of games, even if it's just a sprained ankle.
While in talking spring training about Ruben Sierra wanting to play in the field more, Dion James is day-to-day with that hyperextended elbow. So, the other option would be to place Sierra in the field along with Dion James.
He walked. Duncan's at second. He singled. And another walk to Andy Fox for Gerald Williams here in a 2-run Yankee 4th inning. 7-2, they lead the Texas Rangers, who lead the American League West.
last-minute replacement because of the tight hamstring of Wade Boggs. Was not even penciled into the lineup today.
Reaches for that underhanded delivery of Brandenburg. Right side, it's Will Clark. He grabs it for the out. So 2 away. But the base is still full.
Derek Jeter.
You can see Paul O'Neill with the assistance of assistant trainer Steve Donahue. He is limping off the field, not able to put any weight on that right ankle. And if any of you have ever had a sprained ankle, sometimes a sprain can be as painful or worse than a break. Take the same amount of time to heal. And he's being assisted into the Yankee training room. We'll give you a report just as soon as we get one.
Well, there is an X-ray facility here, so they should be able to get a look fairly quickly. Derek Jeter hitting .360, walked, singled, scored a run. Officially, he's 1 for 1. In there for a strike. I think Derek's turning out just fine, don't you?
Boy, I mean, he's got the perfect temperament, and he says all the right things, even on opening day after the home run. Or was he nervous? He said, hey, even Wade Boggs is a little nervous on opening day. And, you know, it's just one game. I haven't done anything special. He has handled himself perfectly.
I was listening to Chris Chambliss talk to Derek Jeter while he was in the batting cage this morning during batting practice, and he laced a few opposite field line drives, and Chambliss said, bread and butter, bread and butter. Yeah. And then he popped up into left field, and Chambliss said, inning ender, inning ender.
Like that.
Yeah, he reached for it, and you know what? It's an inning ender. There it is. That's exactly what it looked like. But the Yankees get 2, and of course that's not the headline. The headline is Paul O'Neill is hurt. How severe remains to be determined. Back in a moment. Yankees lead the Texas Rangers 7-2 as we welcome you back to the stadium. Al Trautwig along with Jim Cott and Janet Protas, who is on the board of directors of Special Olympics, one of the 5 very special charities that you can volunteer for in our extension of the Yes Make It Count program by dialing 1-212-465-6660. Janet, Jim, had a little problem getting to Yankee Stadium today. She went to the wrong stadium, didn't you, Janet?
I was looking for a doubleheader. A new meaning for it.
So she went to Shea and then just kept on going. Janet, thanks a lot for coming.
Sure.
Ground ball left side. Oh, and it's misplayed by Andy Fox off the heel of his glove. Janet, we have, what, 40,000 Special Olympians that you deal with?
Yes,
your organization
in the
deals
New York
with on a
City
yearly
metropolitan
basis.
area.
Tell people the kinds of things that they're going to do if they volunteer their time, as we're asking them to, and take part in things that are of Special Olympics.
Sure, we have a wide variety of operations or opportunities for individuals and corporations as well. If someone volunteers and they want to get involved in a hands-on manner, they can coach athletes. If their time is more limited, they can volunteer for an event. If a corporation wants to get involved, we have team-building opportunities for them too.
And of course, one of the most rewarding things you can do with Special Olympics is just hug all the competitors on the days of competition.
Exactly.
Jimmy, you done that?
Oh, that in Minnesota with the ice skaters. That was the fun when they came across the finish line, to be a hugger.
Exactly, and just be there for them and support them.
That's what we're trying to convince people to do, is that this opportunity that they've got is really a great opportunity to get feelings that they would not normally ever feel.
Exactly. It's a day for them to showcase their skills.
Little switch there, Jimmy.
Robert Ainhorn at second. Mariano Duncan goes out to right field in place of Paul O'Neill.
Bennett goes for the pickoff at first. Frazier just back, and I was very happy to see that Mr. Cedarstrom did not call the balk.
You're going to see the biggest lead in the major leagues off first base. Gary Cedarstrom watching closely. I mean, Lou Frazier, he's even cut it down a little bit. Pettit almost gets him.
Well done, Gary. Nobody out, one on in the top of the 5th. Line shot. Look out, Andy. It took his glove off. Well, he's all right. This was almost a back-to-back nightmare for the Yankees, and that came right back at Andy Pettitte. What a job he did to get out of the way.
In position, slide step, finishing straight toward the hitter, but that's right through the wickets. And fortunate to get out of the way, but after the Yankees stake him to a 5-run lead, right back in trouble again. I think that's going to force Joe Torre to get the bullpen up here in the 5th inning.
We're talking with Janet Protas, who's on the board of directors of Special Olympics. And in New York State, there are 150 different competitions with 40,000 children and adults. And another bad sign for Pettitte. They get the red light at third. They got a chance to get a guy out here. Third base is all clogged up. Fox chases back the runner, makes the tag, and that's another gaffe by the Texas Rangers. They've had a few today. Put another mental error on the board for Johnny Oates' team.
Janet, we're talking about charity and volunteering. Here's some of the charity that happens on the baseball field. I mean, the Rangers have really been charitable to the Yankees. There's a situation where they should have bases loaded, nobody out, because Pudge Rodriguez just keeps running and never looks. Robert Einhorn is able to get over and, or rather Andy Fox, and make the tag. And 1 out, runners at the corners. Should have been bases loaded, nobody out for the Rangers. Big break for the Yankees.
Yes, indeed. Pudge, you should have stopped Andy Fox. Alert to the moment. And Mickey Tettleton is up with 2 on. No run scored. They put the red light on at third. That froze the runner, and actually I think what caught Pudge was that he saw the runner going full around. Great grab by Andy Fox. There's 1. There's 2. Oh, yeah. In for Wade Boggs, who had some tightness in a hamstring. Andy Fox comes through.
Wow. 6'4", diving and making the inning-ending double play. What a
the
pickup
Yankees
for
might
Pettitte.
want you to stick around here.
Yeah.
Good luck charm so far. Back in a moment on MSG.
One and 2, but we will update you as quickly as possible on one of Chris Chambliss's prize hitters, Paul O'Neill, as to the severity of the ankle injury. McLemore backhand pick to Clark in time, and 2 down here in the Yankees 6th.
Well, these Rangers can be a little frightening out there, can't they?
Well, they're off to their best start. Johnny Oates saying more speed than any team he's ever had up till today. In fact, up till this weekend, starting pitching has been good. They even juggled that for a moment and still got Leyritz by a stride. And the versatile Mariano Duncan will step in. Thought he was going to play left field to start this game, then went to second base, and now with the injury to Paul O'Neill, he's in right field.
Jimmy, I think he's got the most beautiful baseball bats I have ever seen. They're like a rose-colored handle with a darker maroonish thick part with this gold lettering. I mean, they're really snappy looking. He covers up a lot of the beautiful rosewood with tape and
puts that ugly pine tar on there.
But when they come out of the box, they are something.
Looks like some of those gold embossed autograph bats that that you get.
You know what I mean? I mean, have you seen it?
2-0 to Duncan. Goes after the high fastball, hit fairly deep to right and gone.
How about that? Beautiful and functional.
Yes. First of the year for Duncan. 8-2 Yankees.
It's a 3 RBI day for Mariano Duncan. Eight to 2. Let's see, where did he go to get this pitch?
Upstairs. Yeah, high and away in the stadium with that kind of power, you rub up a new one in a hurry. It's only 314 feet down the right field line. And Buford runs out of room. First pitch to Andy Fox is in for a strike. He's had a nice day. Got a base hit. Started that scintillating double play in the 5th inning that really bailed Andy Pettitte and the Yankees out of a jam. I mean, this score is 8-2, but except for Fox's play, we could be looking at a very tight ball game. Looped into left field, but that's a foul just outside the third baseline.
Well, Jim, your scouting report on their bullpen was pretty accurate.
That's a pretty good report on most bullpens. I think Bob Watson is going to join us here in a moment, the Yankees general manager. And when you start analyzing pitching staffs, the middle relievers are usually the lowest pitchers on your depth chart. You got starters, closers, setup men. It's that middle area that you hope you can get some effective innings from. That's inside. It's 2-2 to Fox.
Now the sun is going in and out and in and out.
Sharply, but right at Clark on one hop. Make the play himself. Yankees are down in the 6th. They add another on Duncan's home run. See you on the post-game show, Al. Dave Cohen returns, and we'll visit with Yankee general manager Bob Watson. 8-2 Yankees after 6.
Yankees leading 8-2 with 2 men on, both on walks. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
You mentioned the running game. The other thing that I like about it as a player is it heightens the hitter's awareness of swinging the bat and putting the bat on the ball. When you know there's runners on and the hit and run might be on, the guy's running, all of a sudden, and Joe Torre knows this as well as anyone from being an outstanding hitter, it makes you a little more aware of swinging the bat and making contact, and good things happen there.
Your whole sense has risen another notch. You know, your concentration, you know, you're looking for signs. You know, your whole game comes up another notch. And, you know, again, Joe and I go way back. I like the way he presents himself. I think his staff is tremendous, and we're going to win. We're going to win a lot of ball games.
Nice stop at third base. Worthington couldn't get out of his glove, and that becomes an infield single. Gerald Williams reaches third. Derek Jeter down to second, and Bernie Williams gets the infield hit because Worthington couldn't get it out of his glove.
Well, it's one thing to get the ball like Craig Worthington does, but think back to what Andy Fox did. Right. He had to dive, and yet Fox was able to get to his feet and turn it into an inning-ending double play. So it's not enough to just make the stop. You have to have the footwork and the agility to also make the throw. Another break for the Yankees.
And talk about a guy busting out of his slump. Tino Martinez, the hitter now. He's had 2 singles and a sacrifice fly, and bats with the bases loaded, takes a strike.
It's good to see this young man start to hit the ball the way he can. Same way for Bernie. Those guys who are pulling the ball, nice little ground ball to short, ground ball to first. If you notice, their hits have been up the middle the other way.
Exactly.
Tino had a good cut at it. 1, no balls and 2 strikes.
Now that would, you couldn't blame him with a 6-run lead, and he might have had grand slam on his mind. He kind of pulled off that one.
Pulled off the ball a little bit. You know, but the fans here, they're going to really see a big league hitter here, a quality hitter.
Foul ball. Look out. Nice catch.
Wow. Self-defense a little bit down there. You know, he's a professional hitter. He stays inside the ball. That's when we say inside the ball. He will try to hit the ball in the left center field and let the bat head and the speed of the ball, take the bat head to the ball.
Gerald, Jeter, and Bernie, the base runners. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th inning with the Yankees on top of Texas 8-2. They win today, and they take this 3-game series. Tino will have new life at the plate after fouling that one off. Tino hitting in the number 2 hole today, and Joe Torre is coming out to talk to the home plate umpire, who doesn't realize that
he's going to his mouth with his fingers.
Joe's saying you can blow on your mouth, but
you can read his lips.
Yeah, he put his fingers in his mouth.
Right. You can't do that.
You can blow on your hands in this cool weather, but you can't put those fingers inside and maybe get a little something that would help that ball move.
Now Joe won some points with the fans. as he went out. Now the count is 0-2 to Tino. He held up.
This young man has played some good defense at first base for us.
Boy, play he made in the last inning. We've seen a couple of them this year.
Tino fouls the fastball off, so the count remains 1-2 to him with the bases loaded and nobody out. Tino was telling me before the game he was actually thinking of bunting yesterday to break out of that hitless streak here at Yankee Stadium.
Well, I don't want him to go that far, but at least he's thinking about some things.
That one was out of the zone and he fought it off.
Got a hanger there. I was pointing out, Bob, a previous at bat that Jim Leyritz had. He took a lot of high pitches, chased the low, and that seems to be a change from even the days when you hit the. You didn't let one of those breaking balls go by.
The ball's up there, up in the strike zone. All you had to do is hit it. You know, the thing of it is, they'll tell you, gee whiz, if I take it, Bob, it's a ball.
Yeah.
I said, if you hit it, it could be a hit or a home run. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little different approach to hitting today than it was when we came along, Jim. You as a pitcher, you didn't want to throw it up there.
No.
They still don't want to put it up there. Martinez hits it foul, and for his sake, he's hoping it'll carry into the stands. Will Clark draped over the camera.
And of course, Bob Watson's appearance here in discussing the pitching rotation, and I understand your concern to make sure that we know that baseball decisions are made by you and Joe Torre, but you also have to understand that when you follow the Yankees, we're kind of accustomed to the fact that the owner of the Yankees is involved more than any other owner in baseball, so we always assume that all decisions go through Tampa somehow.
Well, let's put it this way. He's in the loop, but no, we have a lot more input than he wants to back out a little bit of baseball. And
bouncing ball, McLemore fields it, goes to second, and they get the force, but Martinez reaches, and Gerald Williams comes across to score the 9th Yankee run. 9-2 Yankees. McLemore got the middleman, and Tino Martinez has himself a 2 RBI day.
Yeah, it's an out, but it's a productive out. Nice play here by McLemore. And Elster on the receiving end. Kevin stretches as if he were a first baseman, but that ground ball enables Gerald Williams to score the 9th run, and Tino picks up another RBI.
So Gerald, a late entry into the Yankee lineup today, has had himself a good afternoon, as has Tino, and here's Robert Einhorn, his second at bat.
You know, the one situation we haven't covered, Bob, and you and I have talked about it a couple of times, is the ongoing phone calls to possibly pursue a second baseman.
Well, all of those are still going on, but as I've stated before, we're not in a panic mode. We're still going to get some news on Pat Kelly this week.
Einhorn hit it right on the button to fairly deep center field, but there's Frazier, and he makes the catch. That'll get another run home as the Yankees hit double figures. Jeter scores, and Robert Einhorn gets an RBI on the sac fly.
His first RBI of the year, and while he gets the high fives and the Yankees hit double figures, let's quickly go over what could happen. If Pat Kelly were ready, say in 30 days, or if he were not ready at all this season, how would that impact your thinking on getting a second baseman?
Well, if he's going to be ready in 30 days, then this week will really tell the tale on him. The doctors will let us know he's going to start throwing, and if he's throwing okay, then we'll send him out and let him play, get some at bats, and probably look at bringing him back here first week of May. All right, if not, now we talk, that's a totally different situation. We'll probably step up our efforts to go and look for hopefully a frontline second baseman.
That's a base hit by Ruben Sierra. Tino Martinez is going to third. There'll be a throw that's cut off, and the Yankees now with 2 outs have Martinez at third and Sierra at first in this 10-2 game.
And top line second baseman would be Carlos Garcia of the Pirates, of Mickey Morandini. Chuck Knobloch is fantasy. We've read that, but
that's not possible. We'll go and look in the National League, and we might look at somebody in the American League, but if we're going to do something, we would try to do something front line. Now, then the next thing you do, the next best thing is to get a quality, backup, a quality guy, and we'll go that route. But we'll look and see. Next week will be. The tail of the tail on Pat Kelly, because he'll start his throwing program.
He's had another cortisone shot, and he is throwing. And
he's going to start tomorrow.
Okay. Down in Tampa.
Yes.
Going to get a pinch runner here for.
Torrey gave the sign.
Joe had called time and was looking out at Jose Cardinal like I think.
Jorge
Posada is going to get a little game action here, and he's going to go in and run for Ruben Sierra.
Do you realize Bob Jorge has scored a run in the postseason, but has never come to bat in the major leagues?
Yeah, he scored a run in the division series last year.
Oh, he went in his well, let's hope he scores one again today.
So Ruben Sierra, the DH, replaced for pinch runner Jorge Posada with 2 outs. 1 ball, no strike count to Jim Leyritz. Yankees leading 10-2. Crowd today a little bit better than yesterday. 20,181. One of Joe Torre's strategies here in the early part of the season to get as many at-bats for Jim Leyritz by spotting him all around.
Well, that was one of the things that we wanted to do, was get him more involved in the lineup. He has the versatility of being able to catch first and third and play some outfield. He can also DH. And when he's swinging the bat the way he is now at a 320 clip, you want to get him as many at-bats as possible.
There's a high chopper that Worthington catches, and he makes the long throw in time to get Jim Leyritz going down the line. But the Yankees have a productive 7th inning. Our thanks to Yankee GM Bob Watson for joining us as he sees his team add 2 more. And the play by Worthington to end the inning. After 7, it's the Yankees 10 and the Rangers 2.
What to do with O'Neill?
Andy Fox, the hitter now. Paul O'Neill's a left-handed thrower and a left-handed batter, and when he slides on his left side. And I've noticed a few times in the past when he comes home, he slides on the left side and tries to reach out with his left arm to tag home plate. And Yankee coach Willie Randolph was telling me a lot of players can't slide on both sides, and sometimes that creates a problem.
Yeah, in fact, that's a good point, Dave, because I think most of the time, and I've never analyzed every player that slides, but most of the time, if you're left-handed, you slide on the right side. I always slid on my right side, and it was awkward to slide on your dominant leg, your left leg. And that may well be the case with Paul O'Neill, because he's a left-hander, and it was more awkward for him to slide on his left side, trying to avoid the tag of Rodriguez, and got those spikes caught. That might not be his natural sliding technique.
I asked Pat Kelly last season, who's one of the better sliders on the Yankee team, how do you know which is your dominant sliding side? And he said, here's the trick. Sit yourself down Indian style on the floor, and whichever leg is underneath, that's the one you slide on. Deep right field off the bat of Gerald Williams and into the bleachers. Gerald Williams, who had tripled earlier, hits a home run here, and the Yankees continue to pour it on. 2 more runs score on the homer by Gerald Williams. Very stoic as he crosses home plate in low 5s, Derek Jeter.
Cool is Gerald Williams, not even scheduled to start today. And got the double earlier in the ball game off of Kevin Gross breaking ball, and a nice short compact swing there. Remember how he has struggled against right-hand pitching in the early part of the season, but a nice day today for Gerald Williams.
What a breakout game for Gerald as Jeter bats against Whiteside. That young man who was holding his head got the ball back thanks to the kind security guards here at Yankee Stadium.
The fan thought he had caught that ball, and the guards retrieved it for him. The Yankees really painting this one up a little bit in the latter innings. And it's the kind of game when you read the box score, you'll say, boy, the Yankees had a laugher. And Al Trautwig mentioned during his innings how they should put a gold star by somebody who makes an outstanding play and have that a part of the official scoring. If you ever wanted to come up with a gold star in addition to the effort of Andy Pettitte, it would be the play that Andy Fox made. First and third, 1 out in the 5th inning. The game was 7-2, but the Rangers were beginning to creep back in, and Pettitte had lost a little command of his pitches at that time. That was the big play in this game.
And he had started that inning with an error on a little bobbler, a little ground ball up the third baseline that he bobbled. So that was a way to come back big time for Andy Fox in that inning. Toward the right field corner, this one's going to be out of play. They've been handy-andys today, Pettitte and Fox. The Yankees with 12 runs. Andy was scheduled to start at second base, ended up at third, and Wade Boggs not in the lineup because of a slight hamstring. So with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th, the Yankees have scored 2, and Jeter hits this one to right field. And the catch is made in the corner by Damon Buford.
It's still the kind of at bat he's going to get probably a handshake from Chris Chambliss on, because that's Derek Jeter's hitting style. He's going to try to go the other way with the ball. Mark Hutton and John Wetland loosening in the Yankee bullpen. I think maybe Jeff Nelson, who had thrown earlier, one of those 3 will come in and finish it off. But with the day off tomorrow, all of the pitchers out there will try to get a little throwing here latter part of the ball game.
Top of the lineup now, here's Bernie Williams. Bernie's had a couple of hits this afternoon. Also lined out to second base. His average creeping toward his weight, 194 at this moment. Bernie's average usually skyrockets after the month of May.
And Bernie also made an inning-ending catch in the early part of this game that, in a 12-2 score, if it ends up this way, will go unnoticed by many. Rangers had 2 on and 2 out when he made that grab.
Yeah, he's been involved in some interesting plays in the outfield. One in which his feet went out from under him. It became a double off the bat of Tettelin. One in which he was moving to his right, and Gerald Williams cut in front of him to make a catch. And then the one where Paul O'Neill apparently had the play on the ball, and Bernie came out of nowhere to make the catch. All in an afternoon's work here at Yankee Stadium. 12-2 is the score. Now the 3-1 to Bernie is bounced to David Valley at first base. He'll go to the base by himself, and we're heading for the 9th inning. Stick around to see who comes on to pitch for the Yankees in the 9th. Looks like Andy Pettitte's afternoon is done. John Wetland's warming, but Mark Hutton's heading in. Mark Hutton on now to try to finish it up here in the 9th inning. A man from down under.
Comes from down under and throws from on top.
Yep. Facing Rusty Greer, had a home run against Andy Pettitte. Mark is what, 6'6"?
6'6", 240, battled back from groin injury that kept him from pushing off the mound, as well as a shoulder problem. And it's a nice situation. On one hand, it's a nice situation to come in and get some work when your team is up by 10 runs, but there's always that thought, you know, the upside's not very great. So what if you get them out when you're up 12-2? And so you have a tendency maybe to try to overthrow a little bit and not pitch like you would in a tighter game. But there's the powerful leg kick, and look at the motion of Mark Hutton at 6'6".
Do you like his mechanics?
Perfect. When you say do you like his mechanics and perfect, well, what do you mean? Well, the pitching motion is pretty simple. It's weight transfer and balance. You make a little turn to your right that gets your weight back. In this case, he turns to the left. And then you stride toward home plate, land on the ball of the foot.
Well, the results may not be what you like here as the ball's in the gap, and Duncan boots it in right center field. Probably would have been a double anyway, and Rusty Greer is into second base to lead off the top of the 9th inning.
Nice day by Rusty Greer, the Ranger left fielder. Single and a home run against Andy Pettitte. Remember a few years ago when the Hammer, Bob Hamlin, won the Rookie of the Year. Rusty Greer was just behind him in the voting and made the last catch in Kenny Rogers' perfect game. Catch the last out of the game.
Kurt Stillwell now for his first at-bat. Former Cincinnati Red came into the game defensively in the previous half inning.
Cincinnati back in the mid-'80s had more #1 draft picks out of the amateur draft. Kurt Stillwell being one of them. And the Reds had to make a decision. Who do we keep at shortstop? Kurt Stillwell or Barry Larkin? And at the time, that's how highly rated Stillwell was, that they thought he might be the Reds' regular shortstop for a long time.
Stillwell was actually in a National League All-Star game. He played for the National League and then found himself out of a job, sent back to the minor leagues.
Barry Larkins of the world will do that to you, even if you're an all-star.
Oh, tough pitch. On the inside part of the plate, Jim Leyritz back there. I think Kurt knows there's a famous street in Brooklyn named after him, Stillwell Avenue.
There's the movement on Mark Hutton's fastball. Comes back across the inside corner. That near where Ebbets Field used to be, Stillwell Avenue?
Down there at Coney Island. It's the end of the train line. Warren Newson out to pinch hit next. Nobody out in the top of the ninth, and Hutton having a little trouble with his location. That's going to bring Jim Leyritz out to talk to him.
And it appears that maybe Hutton hurt himself on that pitch. Been a few pitchers on the mound today, and where that plant foot comes down, if you don't hit in the right spot, the foot slips a little. And you know Mark's history of the groin injury, and boy, that's sad to see. He's made. Let's see if we can get a look at it. Does the foot slip? Comes off the mound, and you see the didn't see whether he reached for any particular part of the body as to where he might have hurt himself, but you could see his disgust has made it's been a long road back for him to get to the big leagues.
Boy, how quickly we went from good mechanics to this.
Nothing wrong with the mechanics, but obviously he could feel it right away. Calling somebody out of the dugout.
Well, good thing that John Wetland was up and throwing a couple of moments ago in the Yankee bullpen, but he's not the man coming in. Bob Wickman on his way.
He will get as much time as necessary if he were not throwing very much. Wetland had been up earlier, and Jeff Nelson. Talked to Joe Torre before the game today, and I'll discuss those thoughts that I had in discussion with Joe about Bob Wickman when we come back.
Bob Wickman on for the Yankees as he faces the pinch hitter, Warren Newson. There are some of the premiums, the prizes you can win for your hours of volunteering. 1 hour gets you a pin and a water bottle for 2 hours. The blimp is a popular
we
item.
ought to explain that blimp now. It's not going to be, you know, the one you see floating overhead at some of the major sporting events, but it's a little, I guess, a blow-up blimp.
It's a mini
inflatable blimp, mini blimp.
Wickman tried to get the slider by Newson, but it was inside. Wickman tried to find himself early in this baseball season.
5 games after coming off a pretty decent spring, and Joe Torre's first look at him, he was really impressed with Wickman's live fastball and slider. Seemed like whenever teams talk trade with the Yankees, Bob Wickman is the name that comes up. Why isn't he pitching more effectively? And I asked Joe Torre what he thought before the game, and he said he's throwing his slider in the strike zone too often. That might be puzzling to some baseball fans. And it goes back to what we talked about with Andy Pettitte in the early part of the game. You throw your fastball for strikes when you have a good live fastball like Wickman. Here it is, hit it if you can, and then when you throw the slider out of the zone, they'll chase it.
Oh, he caught the corner on that, and Newson is brought back to the box.
But if you never consistently throw your fastball in the strike zone early in the count, you have hitters taking ball 1, ball 2, 3 and 1, 3 and 2 like he is right here. You never really set up the hitter where he'll chase that slider. And so Wickman has always been pitching from behind. Once he gets that pattern straightened out, strike one with the fastball, that good sharp slider, a lot of hitters will chase it. He'll be more effective.
So that first pitch is so important to set up what comes after it. 3-2 to Newson. He went after a pitch out of the zone. Jeter will get the force at second. That's the first out here in the 9th inning. On the play, the lead runner Greer goes to third base. One away in the 9th. Newson reaches on the force out.
Darrell Hamilton.
And another pinch hitter coming up now for these Texas Rangers, Darrell Hamilton.
Otis Nixon was the Rangers center fielder last year. He's now with the Toronto Blue Jays. Rangers went out and signed Darrell Hamilton as a free agent to take over.
He's been the starter most of the season. Lou Frazier in center field today, starting actually for the first time. Hamilton came over from the Milwaukee Brewers, where the Yankees are headed. And the man on the mound, Bob Wickman, is a Wisconsin native from Green Bay. Bob never wears the baseball undershirt. And that game coming up on Tuesday, 6:30 is the time for Yankee Scorecard here on MSG. One away in the 9th.
Yeah, when you look at that time, that is a bit unusual because that's 5:30 Central Standard Time. The Yankees are going to play a 6 o'clock game on Tuesday night and then a 12:15 game on Wednesday afternoon.
That means it'll be 30 degrees instead of 25 by moving it up an hour. Wickman's still having troubles finding the strike zone. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Mel Stottlemyre knows all about that good sinking, moving fastball and what it can do for you.
Want the slider in on the fist. Who's going to get a shot at it? Laird's called. He makes the catch. That's 2 away.
See, that was in a good spot. That was in on the hands. And had Hamilton not swung at it, it probably would have been a ball. You'll see Laird's begin to reach inside. But again, with 2 strikes, you get the hitter to chase some of those pitches. Bob Wickman just has not had enough of those 2-strike situations where he could take advantage of the hitter.
Lou Frazier with the .000 batting average. On 1 time on an error. There's the first pitch, and it misses the strike zone. Well, with a 12-2 lead and 2 outs, here's a guy you want to go right after and not be too cute. Ground ball. Jeter with a dive, but he can't get it. It's a base hit, and the Rangers will get their 3rd run. Lou Frazier gets his first base hit of the season, his first run batted in. Rusty Greer across the plate. Now the Yankees 12 and the Rangers 3 with 2 outs in the 9th inning. Andy Pettitte stands to get the win. Kenny Rogers is hoping soon to get a start, and Jorge Posada there on the bench just would like to get an at-bat in the big leagues.
Ivan Rodriguez.
Ivan Rodriguez now, as the Rangers still have life here in the 9th inning. Rodriguez on the afternoon with 1 base hit. He was guilty of a base running mistake as he came around second base and got caught. Again, Wickman starts out with a pitch out of the strike zone.
We talked about this before, how amazing it is that Pudge Rodriguez, at 24 years old in his 6th season, there's 87 rookies that have played in the major leagues this year so far. And about 70% of those are older than Rodriguez already. And he's working on his 6th season.
Deep in the hole. Jeter goes to second, and that's your game. Derek Jeter to Robert Einhorn to get the final out of this one. Andy Pettitte walking out to congratulate his teammates. Goes to 3-0, and there at Yankee Stadium he's now 10-2, and Joe Torre's Yankees take 2 of 3 from the Texas Rangers.
That matches Mike Messina, the Orioles. Brad Radke of the Minnesota Twins. Yankees will probably see him on the upcoming road trip, who also have 3 wins, and ex-Yankee Sterling Hitchcock off to a good start with the Mariners is 3-0.
Wow, big numbers put up by the Yankees today as they get 12 runs on 15 hits. And they easily defeat the Texas Rangers in a game that was costly for a while in terms of the injury suffered by Paul O'Neill, the sprained ankle, which leaves him day to day. Mark Hutton also injured in the 9th inning, but the Yankees leave the field to the cheers of the remainder of this crowd of 20,000 as they defeat the Rangers 12-3. We've got lots more to come your way here on MSG from Yankee Stadium right after these words.